Mario games span many different genres outside of the usual 2D and 3D platformers. He's got party games, sports games, kart racing games, RPGs, he has a tie-in series with Sonic, his brother has horror games, his fat-ass version has his own games, his girlfriend's game comes out really soon, but he also has a genre of games many people don't expect, puzzle platformers. Captain Toad's Treasure Tracker was so left field that I found it hard to believe it existed as a video game. Captain Toad is just so non-spectacular as a playable character. He walks around and can't even jump, the levels don't span too far and wide and are more rigid and structured in contrast to most Mario games. And yet, it's some of the most fun shit I've ever played, and it's entirely down to how many ideas and creative elements were shoehorned into such a small game. That's how it feels so fresh at every stage. Mario vs. Donkey Kong is a series I've somehow skipped, which feels like a crime, because how the fuck have I missed out on such a good game? The premise of the game is that Donkey Kong sees an ad for mini Mario toys on TV, but can't seem to buy any because the scalpers got to them first. So he robs Mario, who has apparently achieved millionaire status, he has his own fucking toy factory, and Donkey Kong tries to outrun him across 8 different worlds. God damn it, Mario, just let the monkey play with his toys. Just like Treasure Tracker, the game feels super awkward at first. You're so used to Mario hightailing it towards the right side of the screen, flying all over the stage, grabbing tons of power-ups, and making light work of almost every on-screen enemy. Here, Mario feels restricted in his movement. You can still go right and you can go left, up and down, but you don't make it very far. He jumps like a fucking pussy and spends most of his time studying the level before deciding how to complete it. If I had played this when I was 6, I would have refunded this game immediately, but playing it now, you have an appreciation for how clever and incredibly far ahead of its time the original game was. There is so much in the way of animation and expression. Mario can't jump very far, sure, but to compensate, he does a cool ass handstand that makes him jump higher, and then a double bounce to go even further. What the fuck? Even he's thinking, how the fuck did I do that shit? He can do a sideways jump, he can climb 2 ropes at a time. If he moves away from a single rope, he reaches his hand out. He can fall to the floor if an enemy hurts him while carrying something. He gets flattened, he burns to death. In the mini Mario levels, the mini Marios can also die and do a little. Mario jumps on top of enemies to use them as a platform this time instead of killing them, and has this subtle wobbling animation because he's probably thinking, what the fuck? I just jumped on this guy's head. Why isn't he dead? Obviously, since you're playing as Mario, it's only fair that the level structure goes back to the original Donkey Kong. It's an homage to the classic game, but a celebration of how far these two characters have come. You have enemies from both games, but they've been made into toy versions. You have all your Shy Guys, you have the Rhinos, you have Thwomps that do this cool thing where they change into different faces before slamming down. All the verticality in the original game is beefed up. You don't just climb ladders and ropes, you go up moving platforms, you teleport through blocks, you fly on these flower things. The game is chock full of ideas, but has a subtle way of expanding upon them. Even the boss fights, which are so incredibly simple, still find different ways to change themselves up depending on the stage. Expression goes beyond just animation. As an example, check this level out. You can approach it normally and climb this chain like a slow ass motherfucker. Or you can handstand double jump and see ya! There are a few levels where the game allows you to get really fancy. I don't want to show too much, but Donkey Kong hammer power up, you can use this normally. But you can also throw it mid-air, grab it again, and beat the shit out of enemies. God damn! We also gotta talk about the soundtrack. Right from the main menu theme, if you linger around for a couple seconds, you can actually hear both Mario and Donkey Kong's themes. When you complete a level, you hear this little riff that is so familiar I half expect to hear. In the levels themselves, the music's pretty alright, but there are some worlds where you hear this amazing fucking saxophone, and when they're busting out the saxophone, then you gotta pay attention. I mean... Mario vs. Donkey Kong is an incredibly short and sweet game, so unlike many different Mario games, so unfamiliar in how it plays, and yet retains a lot of character. My only gripe is that there could have been more content added to separate this game from the original. The game incorporates a couple new worlds, but I feel like there could have been a couple more, especially if you're priced at $50 fucking dollars. Like, where the fuck are those crocodiles who look like they're addicted to crack in Donkey Kong Country?
Hadouken!